Okay. Good afternoon or good day, everyone. I'm Jaakko Louvanto. I'm coming from the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Employment. I'm taking part in the licensing processes and everything that sort of things. First, I take the opportunity to mention the happy things in the nuclear industry in Finland, the Olkiluoto 3 project, which got the operating license 3 weeks ago. The only thing in that license is that it was planned to happen 10 years ago. It was 2009 when the original commissioning was planned to take care. And similar things in Fennovoima project. Last week I saw an article where a colleague of mine mentioned that it was from the environmental assessment phase, where my colleague mentioned that the commissioning would take place in 2018. Well, today we know a bit better. With these experiences, we have in Finland a lot of knowledge and we know how challenging these big and complex nuclear power plants are to build. And well, that brings us here today. SMRs are gaining popularity here in Finland, and interests are coming from all kinds of instances, like municipalities and new energy corporations like Helen and all kinds of others. So, and also they are gaining interest in new applications like the heat production for the district heating. So we have new vendors, new technologies, new sites, perhaps near locations near the cities. So we have a lot of new things coming with these SMRs, and that thinking has to be brought also to the legislation and regulation, and that's where the ministry and also STUK comes into the picture. So we have to think about the licensing processes, site and type approvals, and we have already thought about these things. We have, in the last updating process of the nuclear energy law, we had this group we called UTE group, and there was Lappeenranta, Fortum, energy industry and STUK involved, and we mainly thought about these licensing issues like the type approval and site approval. But we have also other things like waste management, especially when we have new operators coming and new smaller sites and new smaller operators. So that's an important thing. But also like security is coming. So in last updating process we didn't take this into account. But now we are planning and preparing a new updating for the nuclear energy law and nuclear energy decree, and that will be a long process and a big process. So that is where the ministry is now, and that is what we are working. The work is ongoing, and these seminars are important to tell us how that we should keep these SMRs high on the agenda and in every work group. So, to be honest with you, I don't have that much more to say actually, we are working on that legislation process, and its beginning, it will be for 4 or 5 years, so it won't be happen today or this year. So I'm wishing you a good seminar here today. And
have some questions?
Of course. Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm from Estonia. I'm Kalev Kallemets from Helsinki. Obviously, we don't have now nuclear reactors. We used to have back in until '91 submarine 2 and submarine training reactors that were dismantling by 2040. But my question is about this SMR licensing, and we're obviously following with great enthusiasm progress in Finland regarding nuclear powers and the public acceptance of nuclear power that is exemplary. But what is the challenge, or could it be possible that the designs that will be licensed in Canada and in the States, that those basic safety licenses would be fundamentally verified and approved in Finland? Because consider airplanes. I don't think that when Finnair buys a new Bombardier or Boeing, that it goes through the same safety control procedures of the software, and maybe it should, but fundamentally it verifies and accepts the safety and control procedures in the States and Canada. We recognize that they are fundamentally have high safety culture. Why this fundamentally can't take place with nuclear reactors? Understandably, they are site-specific, climate, seismic, access, so forth elements. But fundamentally, is this an option or possibility that you consider in, what is it, you said, long process?
Of course, it can be taught, but it's probably mainly on Stuk's hand what kind of safety features we can accept here in Finland. So if Stuk's is all right with the international design or licensing type, I don't see why not.
There was this point, if I may, since nobody had their hand up, that Stuk said that they would need a clear signal from the ministry to kind of start looking into these SMRs and licensing them and stuff like that, and maybe a pile of cash to go with that, actual resources to do that. And then also, Minna said that you've been discussing this topic already quite a lot. So I just want to, what would be that signal that could kind of kick the can moving again?
I think if there is a single signal, I think it will be handled during the process when we update the nuclear energy law, for example. During that process, we discuss how we are going to handle these. It's not probably that simple that we just give a signal and go.
I had also in my presentation this chicken and egg problem, that it's hard to have the legislation and regulation for a project that doesn't exist, but it's very hard to kind of justify the investment into a project that doesn't have legislation or regulation. So clearly somebody needs to take the first move, and I personally think that is the government side of things. Maybe Juhani has some comment?
No, let me comment on that. There is a historical precedent, actually, what you are asking for, and this is the laying the groundwork for the waste management in Finland. In 1983, there was a government decision in principle made out of an initiative of the officials, not out of the initiative of the industry, but out of the initiative of the officials, which outlined the timetable of how to handle spent fuel in Finland. And this has been more or less health too. Okay, so it has been more or less implemented as it was planned in those days, which is quite impressive actually, because it falls on the start of the disposal of the utilization of the final disposal facility starting in 2020, and it's almost happening. Okay, will have been postponed by a few years, but not much. So within 10% tolerances will be quite good in our business. Okay. So this could be done again. This could be done again, so that the ministry officials could prepare a government decision saying that the deployment of SMRs for heating purposes are in the interests of the society, are for the good of the society, whatever is the proper English translation of the yhteiskunnan kokonaisetu, the overall good of the society.
Yes.
And you could make such a decision for a certain number of megawatts, for example. Rauli has been talking about 2,000 megawatts plus. The actual total consumption is something double that maybe. 2,000 megawatts thermal is actually half an EPR. So in terms of waste volume that somebody was asking, it's a very small quantity. It would easily fit as soon as there is agreement between the people involved. And it's only a matter of people agreeing, it's not a technical question anymore. So you could take initiative. And regarding this chicken and egg problem of yours, I would advise against letting the STUG start to write the regulations before the industry has an idea of what it wants to do, and what it is capable of. So these have to be developed in parallel. Otherwise, there will be another overkill, like happened for the large reactors. That the regulations are now a bit of an overkill in the level of detail that they have, not on the safety level. The safety level is okay, but the level of detail of what the regulator tinkers with is much too small.
So you think that the vendors
So the proponents of these technologies and that their contractors, the people who actually do the work, so people who forge the vessels and who cast the piping and who do the concrete work, they have to be involved. Not many of them are here today, sadly, but maybe next time. Maybe we will be now able to collect enough material that we can convince them to come next time.
Well, as you were saying that, I was seeing some of our friends from the reactor community knocking along. Just like, it seems like they're all kind of sitting over there. Terrestrial energy, Hitachi, NuScale, are like, yep, we need to be involved. I was kind of curious, so we have this date of 2029 to stop coal. Are you feeling that urgency on setting up the legislative and regulatory pathways so utilities and municipalities, district heating networks, they have some options once 2028 rolls around, or whenever it has to be, where they have to start making decisions? How real is that timeline for you folks at the ministry in kind of your decision-making process here?
Well, regarding for example, the law updating process, it's very, very realistic. So, and starting off any kind of building process, it comes from the industry. So we just want to make the law ready so that it allows the industry to make any decisions.
Great, all right. So that is very much at the forefront of your mind, that it's like, we got 10 years to go. Right. Great. Some more questions. Go ahead.
Hello. My name is Boris. I'm from Singapore, who is one of the vendors.
Sorry, I missed you.
That's okay. We all know me. One comment from me to this discussion is, because in Denmark, where I come from, and I used to work in the wind industry, what the government did they said they wanted to have industry, so they subsidized it and made the type approval available and so on. Eastern regulations, or not Eastern, but changed them so they were more accommodating, basically. And that meant that they developed a large industry in Denmark and created a lot of jobs. But it was the government who basically subsidized it. And I think in Finland or other places, we as a vendor have to see that there's a business case in going here. If we have to pay the upfront cost for licensing, we also have to see that we can recuperate those costs by selling, let's say, 10 or 15 units. And one way of doing that at first, because they will not be as financially effective, obviously, as the later ones. So the first can need also some subsidies, as they did in the wind sector for wind turbines. So there's I think there's a lot to learn from the wind sector, and also by entering into a dialogue with the industry about what do we need from our perspective.
There was one part of Mina's presentation that I thought maybe would be a good question for you. So right now, it seems like each individual reactor that would be built would require a decision in principle, because these reactors we're talking about now are, from anywhere from a fifth to a tenth the size of the ones that are being built. Typically, could we see 5 at a time or 10 at a time being approved with the decision in principle?
I don't think that decision in principle restricts the amount of reactors at the moment even. So you can apply for that already.
You have to name a number of maximum number for megawatts.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's not the restricting point here.
Another question here?
I think I heard Mina say earlier that to get a final license for a new nuclear power plant in Finland, it required an act of parliament. Did I hear that correctly? Is that true? Yeah. Did you say that?
Yes.
Yeah. So is there a same bar for other power plants in Finland? Do you have to have an act of parliament to open a biofuel plant or or
Just for nuclear.
Oh yeah, just for nuclear, yeah. Yes, decision in principle.
Solar farm, any of these require
No.
geothermal facility? No. So just okay.
Always nice to have some extra political risk.
Yeah, it sounds like you don't see that changing either.
No,
It's just, okay.
it will stay.
Just comes with the territory for, if you want to split atoms in this country. All right. All right, any last questions?
We're up for lunch.
Yeah, all right.
Pretty much. No.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you all again for your attention. This is a wonderful session. Thanks for reconvening, I think, in an hour, whatever it says on your schedule. I think it's an hour.